What's going on, guys? Snake Eyes here, playing some more Dark Souls 2. And if you watched my previous video, you know where I'm headed to right now. Right now, I'm taking my bandit character and I'm going to go and kill Benhart. I didn't say Bernhardt. Now, the cool thing about Benhart is the Bluemoon Greatsword that he has. His armor is kind of cool, but you can see that sword from the second I entered this area, and that's what he drops when you kill him. He's pretty easy. The only thing that you have to watch out for is that reach with that sword. You can see as I'm fighting him, there will be times where he'll swing the sword and I'm right behind him, but the reach of that sword goes almost in a 360-degree motion, a little bit tighter than that, and still manages to come and hit me. Now, the item description, well, first off, the sword itself is a recycled sword that From Software has been using in games before Dark Souls and Demon Souls, but you guys may notice it from either Dark Souls or from Demon Souls or from both. And the item description is just like the other item descriptions when you see an old item returning back, and it's actually pretty cool. I'll wait until the fight gets towards its end before I explain it, but I'm gonna get into the history a little bit of the Bluemoon Greatsword. If you're following from the first Dark Souls, the way that you get the it didn't go by Bluemoon Greatsword, but I'm gonna call it the Bluemoon Greatsword just because I forgot the name of the original. The way that you got it was by cutting off the tail of Sita Skelis. And Sita Skelis was a dragon who betrayed his own to be granted the power of a duke, and pretty much after he was granted I guess honored a duke or whatever, he just ran all types of experiments and all that trying to obtain immortality, and he did some pretty messed up things to get to that point. And he did get it, but in his own way. I'm not going to spoil it. That was the story on how you got the Bluemoon Greatsword in that game. And now I'm going to go to the item description, where as soon as I hit the item description, I don't know what's taking me so long. Oh, I'm checking out the stats as well, and I'll go into that in a second. Just right now, right here, I'm just seeing if I could use it, but I still couldn't. And like I said, I'm going to go into it right now. But the description is, come on. There, and I'm gonna pause it for a second. It says the blade of this great sword shines like the brilliant rays of the moon. In the oldest legends, rarely spoke of today, it is said that the sword was born of a great white being. Then what explains this lifeless weapon? Perhaps there's been some mistake. That is true in several ways. The sword was born of a great white being. That was Sita Skelis. He was a great white being, but he was also a dragon. You cut off his tail, that was where you got the sword. It says, then what explains this lifeless weapon? And you would assume that as well. You would wonder that, especially if you didn't know the legends. Like I said, this is supposed to be 100 years in the future, and you would think that a weapon that shines as bright as the moon would be full of life, but it's lifeless. And the reason, that's kind of a nod to the history of that sword. It was obtained by a being that was lifeless. He was a dragon and only thought of himself, and went as far as putting his own race to extinction, near extinction, because there's still some dragons in Dark Souls. And he did some really messed up things, and the origin of the sword, like I said, came from a being who was lifeless. Therefore, the sword itself is lifeless. That is kind of cool that they've added that in there. If you look on the bottom left, it says 28 strength. I don't know if you guys know, but when you two-hand a weapon, the current strength that you have doubles, and that makes sense. Back in previous Souls games, they used to do just a 1.5. It used to, like, if you had 10 and you dual-handed, your strength became 15. But now it makes more sense. because if you're assuming that your strength is 10 in one hand, then why shouldn't it be 20 when you're using both hands? So that's what they did. So what you need to do is level up your dexterity to 10 and level up your strength to 14, and then you can still use this weapon, but you can only use this weapon when you dual wield it. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'm gonna go into more detail with that as far as the way that these attributes are starting to work now. Got a plan for doing a video for tomorrow, so hopefully I can get it done tonight and get it ready for you guys tomorrow. But that's it. Bluemoon Greatsword. I'm showing you these drops so that way you don't have to kill these NPCs yourself, because I'm pretty sure they all have their independent storylines that need to progress and to grow. But I'm just showing you what these guys drop right now, so you guys can make the decision on whether or not you want to go through with killing them. But like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. The next person we're gonna go get is the blacksmith, so stay tuned for that. It should be coming up pretty soon, and until next time, I'll see you later.